What is going on, YouTube? Joe here with Culination Media, and welcome back to another live Pokemon Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire Wi-Fi battle against a subscriber/follower on Twitter. Today, we are battling none other than Roman, the Hax God himself, and I think this is the first time that I've actually Wi-Fi battled him in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, so that's pretty cool. I used to battle him all the time in the X and Y days, and that's part of why he got his Roman the Hax God name, because Hax just follows him wherever he goes, anything that he's involved in. And he also had the Typhlosion named after him in the Storm Silver playthrough, so it was fun. If you see him in the comment section, make sure to give him a GG. As always, show him some love. You know how we like to do here. So as for the team, I have some interesting things, a couple of suggestions that you guys have been giving me over the last couple of weeks, because I finally did a little bit more breeding. So we do have Choice Scarf, Adamant, Reckless Staravia, one of your suggestions, so that's going to be a lot of fun to use. I may even just lead off with that, depending on what his team looks like. Then I have Physically Defensive Quagsire. It is unaware. I'm not sure why this thing is still NU. I don't think it belongs down there, to be honest. But it might be going up due to the May tier shifts, just because of usage. So actually, by the time this video goes up, it might actually be RU because of that. But not at the moment of recording, so we'll have to see what happens. But yeah, Quagsire is there to stop some setup sweepers, and actually it doesn't look like my opponent has any of those, but still, Quagsire is a good physical wall. Then we have Specially Defensive Dustox, because I can't even say that with a straight face, because I love Dustox. It's also packing the Defog, so I needed a way to get rid of hazards, so that is that. What else do we have? We have Life Orb, Sheer Force, Swords Dance, Mawile with Play Rough, Iron Head, and Sucker Punch for priority because Mawile is super slow. Atlas is finally making his return, another suggestion. Quite a few of you have been asking for Atlas to come back. So this is going to be an offensive Stealth Rocking set with Seed Bomb, Stealth Rock, I already said that, Earthquake, and Synthesis with lefties, of course. And last but not least, our Setup Sweeper, because Mawile most likely is not going to be sweeping anything, especially because my opponent has a Garbodor. We have Nasty Plot, Ninetales, packing the Psyshock for things like Hariyama, and just fighting types in general, and I think I have Flamethrower and Energy Ball for water types. So that is that. My opponent has quite a few ways to remove hazards, as I noticed from the team preview. He does have the Primeape, which often carries Defog, and he does have Sandslash, which is a staple in NU battles. Like, everybody has Sandslash because it might just be the best spinner in NU. So, with that being said, we have an Unpheasant Staravia matchup to lead things off here. And looking at my team, what do I have that wants to switch in on this? This is probably offensive. I don't know what set he's running. He could be Power Herb Sky Attack or Choice in some way. If he's Choice Scarfed, he actually does outspeed us, because I am Adamant. Just because I felt like I needed that extra power. Just because it's a Staravia. But I think I'm going to U-turn either way. And we do outspeed him, so that at least rules out the Scarf. He could still be Choice Banded. Throwback to Pa the Unpheasant from a while back. I haven't used Pa in a long time. I need to bring back the Choice Banded Unpheasant too. That thing is power. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. The NU session I did with that was so much fun. It just killed everything. It was ridiculous. So, I have a couple of switch-ins to this. I have Mawile and I have Quagsire. I'm going to make the Mawile switch this time just because I do resist every move that this thing would want to go for. It doesn't have a lot in terms of the Flying Stab. It's pretty much Sky Attack, Aerial Ace, and Pluck. That's just about it. And he actually does show off the U-turn, so he could... I don't think that's banded, though. That doesn't look like banded damage. I know that's a quad resist move, but that did absolutely nothing. Like, and I'm invested in speed, not even HP. So, that is that. He is going to make the safe switch into his Sandslash here. And I have a couple of options on this as well. He's most likely going to go for either Knockoff or Stealth Rock here. And I could try to get Dustox in ahead of the Stealth Rock, and then either throw up a Toxic or just defog the hazards away immediately. But I could also go into Quagsire, which would force him out, because I don't think he'll want to take a Scald. But I also don't take much from any of his attacks with Torterra either, and since I will force him out, I can get up my own rocks and force him to Rapid Spin later on. So that's what I'm going to do, as he is actually going to go for the Knockoff, which is great. because even though that does remove my lefties, I'm okay with that. I do have Synthesis for recovery, and I can either go for a Seed Bomb here, predicting him to want to stay in, predicting me to predict the switch, but I don't know if I want to get all fancy and intricate with predictions at this point in the game, just because I don't want to sway the momentum too badly when we're pretty evenly matched at the moment. So I'm going to use this opportunity to throw out my Stealth Rocks. I'm expecting... I don't know what I'm expecting. He's actually going to go into the Unfezant. Okay, fair enough, because it is immune to Earthquake, doesn't take much from Seed Bomb, and he's pretty confident, I think, that I would not go for Stone Edge if I did have it, which I do not. But with that being said, we were able to get the rocks up, and it's actually also good for him because he got the Unfezant in before the rocks went up, so he didn't have to take that 25%. I'm expecting a flying type move here because I am anticipating this thing to be offensive, just not Choice Band. It's got to be Power Herb Sky Attack because that U-turn did absolutely no damage. Like, I know it's a 4 times resistant hit, but still, I expected it to do more than 10 to him a while without Intimidate. So really my only switch here would be the Quagsire into a flying move, because if he's going to go for Sky Attack, I don't want to take that damage on Mawile, just because it doesn't have any recovery, and that's going to hamper my ability to try to set up later on. Quagsire can switch in and recover off the damage, so a little bit of a difference there. But Mawile is so tempting, but he also has a Garbodor, so it's not like Mawile is going to be sweeping anything anyway. So I'm just going to go into Quagsire. That is my best play at this point, and we'll get to see what set this thing is, as he is going to show off the Sky Attack, so he is indeed Power Herb, I'm assuming. Yeah, there's the Power Herb. So I guess he also has Super Luck, so this is going to probably crit me, and it does. Yeah, with Super Luck and Sky Attack already having a high critical hit ratio, what are the chances of a crit? Like 70%? Is it even higher than that? I don't know. I know it's got to be pretty high. It might even be higher than 70%. I don't know what the factor is on that, just because, yeah, I just don't. I never really paid attention to it. Now, he can't kill me with another hit because he would have to charge for a Sky Attack if he really wants to go for that again. So I could just recover here, but I'm actually going to protect to see what he goes for. And get a little bit more lefties recovery too, just in case he does have return. And he actually is going to try to U-turn out. So, yeah, I don't think return would have killed me there, but it may have been a roll, and there's also the chance that he could have just crit me, so I didn't want to risk it. And at the very least, I could see what he wanted to go for, but I'm just going to recover. Yeah, I don't carry Toxic on this Quagsire just because I feel like it's not really necessary. And that just makes this set mostly a Toxic stalling set, to be honest. You just Toxic and recover, and I don't really like that playstyle too much. Like, it's okay sometimes to Toxic stall, sometimes you have to, or sometimes that's just your best option, but I don't like to go in with that being my strategy if I can help it. So I do get up to max HP by recovering, and he's actually charging for another Sky Attack, so I'm going to go for Scald here. Hope he doesn't crit me or flinch me, because that would be bad. And that's another critical hit. And that did more damage this time, I think. And I flinched, too. I didn't even notice that. I was, like, waiting for this Scald animation. I'm like, wait a minute, why is he not scalding? Come on now, RNG. I mean, this is Roman. What can I expect? He doesn't even have a Typhlosion on his team. He can't, because Typhlosion is banned. But still, what is happening right now? I should have anticipated this, just because this is what happens when I battle Roman. We have shenanigans happening. To be fair, I think the critical hits aren't really haxy just because of the Super Luck plus Sky Attack thing, but that flinch kind of sucked, because it forced me to have to go for recover again. So now I will Scald, and he's going to hit me with a Sky Attack, but we are going to get damage off on this, and we get critted a 3rd time in a row. That stinks. That really does stink, and Scald does a lot. Wow. That did way more than I thought. But we actually get the burn too, so Hax is going on both sides. Although, I think does Sky Attack have a 30% chance to flinch? Or is it 20? I'm not sure. Either way, I guess it's not really that haxy, and Scald isn't really that haxy either. But regardless, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to go for the recover here as he does decide to U-turn. And I think he barely has enough HP to be able to switch in on rocks. So that was a good play on my opponent's part. He can use that as fodder later on. And that would be cool. But I am going to get back up to a healthy amount of HP as he is going to be able to send out his Primeape here, actually. And I'm assuming he sent this out just in case I went for an attack. But I did opt to go for the recover, just because I would like to have this thing available to switch in on things like... I wanted to say Garbodor, but it could carry Seed Bomb. I'm probably going to have to scout for that before I just blindly switch Quagsire in. But he also has a Primeape, so physically defensive Quagsire can take a hit or two from that. So having this thing healthy is going to help me. This Primeape is a problem. I'm not sure if it's specially defensive or physically defensive, but the fact that he has Garbodor and Sandslash leads me to believe that he is more specially oriented. That would just be my guess. With that being said, Seed Bomb could do a lot from Atlas here, and I'm going to use it as a pivot here. I'm expecting him to want to maybe go for rocks. Do you have rocks? Yeah, you do have rocks. Okay, fair enough. I figured he wouldn't go for Ice Beam there. But now what this allows me to do, because I did predict the rocks, is now I can scout for the Ice Beam. Right? I actually thought he might go for Defog there first before going for Stealth Rock, but he did not do that. I forgot I had my own Stealth Rocks up. But I'm going to actually EQ. He is going to withdraw. Okay, maybe he doesn't have Ice Beam. Because I don't really need this Torterra to win. Oh, wait a minute. Is this Atlas? This is Atlas versus Atlas? He has a he has a creatively named Atlas. So he has some Atlas action going on. I can't say the word Atlas. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That Earthquake did a lot, too. This is definitely especially defensive. Or at least invested in its special defense, because that did way too much. So I'm just going to go for EQ again. If we get a little bit of a higher roll, we might be able to kill this thing. So he might want to actually just switch here. So, judging by the plays he's been making, I'm not really sure if he has Ice Beam on that Primeape. If he does bring it in again, and we see the Torterra versus Primeape, I am going to try to scout for that Ice Beam. Even if it does prolong the match a little bit and it turns out he doesn't have it, he didn't go for Defog, which means he might have an extra move slot for it. So I would like to scout for it because he didn't go for it. It wouldn't have been the end of the world if I lost Torterra there, but now that I did save it, I might as well hang on to it. So he's actually going to go back into the Primeape, so I'm really expecting him to have Ice Beam now. There's no other reason for you to go into this when I can just Seed Bomb you. That probably won't kill, just because Primeape is a fat sack of potatoes. So I will go into the Dustox here, because I can eat up any hit from this. And we can also get a Defog on this as well, so that's going to be perfect. And he does actually go for the Ice Beam, so it turns out that he does have it. Please don't freeze me. That didn't do too much. We're going to get our Black Sludge recovery. I do have Roost on this, of course, so I will be able to recover off the damage as well. I know he has rocks up on his side of the field too, but I should be able to go back into Torterra and get my rocks up again. So I'm not too worried about it. There should be plenty of opportunities to set up the Stealth Rock, especially because even if he does bring that Unpheasant back in, it's probably just going to be fodder. But if he decides to go for Sky Attack for whatever reason, I can get rocks up on that. So, yeah. I should be able to get up rocks on the Garbodor as well. Depending on if it's offensive or not, I guess I should scout for that. Because Torterra won't like taking a gunk shot. But he is going to go into the Sandslash here, actually. Because I can't really do too much to this other than Toxic It. I can't really do too much to anything other than Toxic It. That's like the main way that Dustox does damage. So basically, it just spreads some status with Toxic. It defogs, it can roost, and, you know, it U-turns out to get some momentum. The slow U-turn is helpful. But that is pretty much that. Do I want to U-turn here? I mean, he could have Stone Edge, and I don't like that. I don't like that one bit. I don't want to sacrifice Dustox, because depending on that Garbodor set, that could be a decent switch in too, just to take a hit and use it as a pivot. But we shall see. We shall see. I wonder if this thing has Stealth Rock too. Double Rocker? Because he had the Primeape that showed the Stealth Rock already. So I'm assuming that that Primeape doesn't have Defog either, because he didn't go for it before setting up his own rocks. And he does have Unpheasant, which doesn't like that. So I'm assuming that his way of removing hazards is the Rapid Spin on this Sandslash. And I have a relatively safe switch into Torterra. If he goes for knockoff, I lost my item already, and that's not going to do anything. Earthquake is not going to do much. So yeah, he is just going to go for the knockoff. But I really had nothing to lose by switching in Atlas here, because the only moves that Sandslash would normally carry would be knockoff, Earthquake, Stone Edge. And yeah, Torterra doesn't care about any of those when it doesn't have an item. So now I could Synthesis to get back up to full HP. I could set up rocks again, or I can just Seed Bomb for damage. But the question is, are you going to stay in? I don't think you will, so I'm just going to Synthesis. That should allow me to get up rocks on whatever he goes into, I would think. And yeah, I don't think he's going to go into Garbodor here. I mean, he might try to use that as a pivot, but that's a really risky switch, because if I do just go for Earthquake, he might get O-Code because I'm offensive. So we'll have to see. He might just go back into the Unpheasant here and sack it. And what is Bessie? Bessie is the Primeape. Okay, we have not seen that yet. So, judging by the makeup of his team, I'm going to say this is Choice Scarf. So, with that in mind, that actually could be a problem, because that means it outspeeds my Choice Scarf user, because Primeape is base 95 speed, and Staravia is base 80, and I'm Adamant on top of that. So, this thing can carry Gunk Shot and Ice Punch, both of which I'm not going to like. Ice Punch will be a solid OHKO, and I don't really want to take that. Either way, I have a relatively safe switch into Quagsire. He may U-turn, predicting a switch here just to get some momentum going, because he kind of needs some momentum at this point, and he needs to be able to get a safe switch into either his Spinner or Defogger, if he does have the Defog on the Primeape. We'll have to see. We will have to see what happens here. But if he's going to take the offensive approach, he is most likely just going to show off the Ice Punch here, and Quagsire will be able to take that relatively easily. So yeah, he does show off the Ice Punch, and Quagsire is going to have no problem taking that. Thankfully, we do not get frozen, because Quigula apparently is a Hax Magnet with all those critical hits and flinches and everything. Poor Quagsire. He doesn't seem to mind, though. His face hasn't changed at all. He's still just as unaware as always. Now, I could recover to get back up to full HP, although I'm pretty close as it is, so I don't know that I need more HP than what I have right now, especially because I have lefties. So he's most likely going to go into the Primeape. So with that being said, do I want to Earthquake just for some damage? Kind of feel like I do, although a Scald Burn on that would be great as well. But then I'd have to bank on getting that 30% chance, and I already got it once, so that's unlikely. I'm just going to go for EQ. If he does go into the Primeape, that's fine. No, he's actually going to go out into Atlas. Is this going to get 2 KO'd? I mean, this is defensive Quagsire. Probably not. Now the lefties is going to save him, it looks like. Looks like it was going to be a damage roll if he didn't have the lefties, but he does. So, yeah, I mean, that's another reason why I shouldn't have gone for Scald there, is because he could easily get the Storm Drain boost, and I think that's what he was predicting there, trying to switch Cradily in. But thankfully, I was careful enough to not go for that. Now, what do I want to switch in on this? Atlas actually is a pretty good matchup for it, just because the most he could do is Toxic, I guess. I'm trying to think what this could be. Maybe it's like Swords Dance. That'd be pretty cool. That would be pretty cool indeed. This is yet another potential Stealth Rocker on his team, too. He has a lot of like bulky Stealth Rocking type Pokemon. Sandslash and Primeape and Cradily all can carry it. So I am going to make the switch actually into Dustox, because I don't think that he can really do anything to me. So he's actually going to show off the Synthesis. That's interesting. Don't they normally carry Recover? which I would think would be the better choice just because Synthesis only has 8 PP if you max it out, whereas Recover has 16, so that's, I mean, double the amount of turns you can recover your HP. So that's rather interesting. Now, I really want to click Toxic here to get some residual damage on this thing, but he could go into Garbodor, but he didn't make that play last time, so we'll have to see what he does. So he's going to switch. Smee, what is that? It is the Garbodor. Okay, so we made the Garbodor play, and he gets it in safely because I went for Toxic. So I guess that was a good prediction on my opponent's part. That was a relatively safe switch anyway because Dustox can't touch it. And I will just go for the U-turn, and I will be able to figure out if he's Rocky Helmet or not here. Now, if he's Hazards, he's going to be able to get up a layer of spikes, and there's really nothing I can do about it. He actually is going to go for the Gunk Shot, and that didn't do too much. But trying to think, is that offensive? That might be offensive Garbodor. That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool indeed. That does mean that I probably don't want to go into Torterra. I could go into Quagsire, but if he is offensive, he could have that Seed Bomb. This might be my opportunity to actually go in with Ninetales. He might not want to stay in against that and take a Fire Blast or Flamethrower potentially. So I could possibly get up a Nasty Plot as he switches into Primeape. And at +2, an Energy Ball is going to come pretty close to taking it out. Oh, I didn't even mention what the item on the Ninetales is. I'm actually running a Passo Berry to allow me to take water type moves a little bit better. What I actually wanted to say was Aqua Jet, because that is like the bane of Ninetales' existence, especially when it's trying to sweep teams. But yeah, it does reduce the power of all water type moves, so I guess that works too. I don't know if that's going to come in handy. It might, depending on if the Energy Ball takes out the Primeape or not. I mean, he can't kill me in one hit anyway. But he's actually going to show off the Black Sludge. So, I mean, that's to be expected because he did not have the Rocky Helmet. And he might be fearing the Psyshock too. And switch out. But either way, I'm setting up Nasty Plot. He can't kill me with anything. So I think he has one Pokemon on his team that can survive a hit, and that's going to be the Cradily most likely. Either the Cradily or the Primeape. It's one or the other. And we'll see what he goes into here. It's actually going to be the Primeape. And with that prior damage, that might just be what we need to take him out. To be completely honest, that may be the difference. It could still be a damage roll. I'm really not sure on this calc here. But we're just going to go straight for the Energy Ball. And that is a dead Primeape. Goodbye. That's pretty impressive. I was not expecting it to actually take it out there, but Ninetales is pretty powerful. Okay, it's got like base 80 special attack. It's not really that powerful, but at +2, it can still dent some things. So he's going to go into the Primeape here because that is Choice Scarfed. Definitely, by the way he's bringing it out. I actually know this calc off the top of my head. Jolly Primeape cannot OHKO with Stone Edge or Earthquake. I'm going to survive with like 5-ish%, 5 to 10% in that range, depending on the roll, of course. If he's Adamant, he's got a chance to KO. So I guess it just depends on what his nature is. Most of the time, Primeapes, even if they are Scarfed, they are Jolly. So the question is, do I want to take that risk? If I get it right, though, I mean, his team is going to get blown wide open. He's going to have to go into Cradily next to attempt to take a Flamethrower, and I think he can. Pretty sure he can. But I'm going to stay in. Yeah, I'm going to risk it. I think he is Jolly. I'm going to go for the Psyshock. He does show off the EQ here. He does outspeed as well because he is Choice Scarfed. And he is Jolly as we survive with 9 HP. Psyshock is going to be enough to take out this Primeape because it is relatively frail. So his Choice Scarf user is gone as well, which will open some doors for Staravia if Ninetales doesn't make it through the battle. So that's always good. And I'm expecting Cradily here, because that's the only thing I could think of that could possibly survive a hit. I'm pretty sure everything else just gets OHKO'd. So Ninetales putting in some serious amounts of work. Serious amounts of work here. So he's taking some time to think about it. He may be calcing something. I don't really know. He still has Garbodor, but I just showed off the Psyshock. So he's actually going to go into the Sand Slash. Unless this is Spadef, I don't see it taking an Energy Ball. And even if it does, I mean, if Primeape is not taking it, I don't think Sand Slash is going to. And nope, Sand Slash is just going to go down. I really think his better play there would have been to go into the Cradily. Just because that I feel like that was an unnecessary sack, but I don't know what the spread of that Cradily is either. If it's like offensive or something, then I can understand. But he's going to go into the Garbodor now, so he's saving the Cradily for last. And we're just going to be able to fire off a Psyshock. I'm not expecting this thing to survive at all. So yeah, Smee, the Garbodor, just going down in one hit. Ninetales is plowing through his team right now. Jeez, I really was not expecting it to put in this much work. But I guess we weakened his team just enough for Ninetales to be able to deal some damage. Yeah, from that HP range, there's no way that Cradily is going to die here. He's going to take this. So yeah, if I had Fire Blast, it would be a different story, and he's going to be able to take me out with a Rock Tomb. So I'm guessing he's not offensive. I mean, he had Synthesis. So Synthesis and Rock Tomb, I guess Giga Drain, and maybe Stealth Rock, although we already had a Stealth Rocker, so I don't know what that final move was going to be. But we can just go into our Mawile here, and we will outspeed this because I am invested in speed, and we can just go for an Iron Head to finish off the battle. So Ninetales basically bringing it home for us. It ended up being a 5-0, but still almost a half-hour long battle, so lots of jostling for momentum, and that's why I always say the score does not really mean anything. You can have an extremely close battle that ends up being a 5 or 6-0, and this was even most of the battle until Ninetales came in and started wreaking some havoc. I do think it would have been a bit closer, and the battle would have gone on a little bit longer if he did go into Cradily first instead of, or after Primeape, instead of sacrificing his Garbodor and Sandslash, but you know, hindsight is 20/20, and not everybody, you know, you don't always make the play that is the most optimal. It just doesn't work out that way. That's unrealistic. It was still a great match. I had a lot of fun with it. So thank you very much for the battle, as always, Roman. Remember, guys, if you see him in the comment section, throw him a GG for me. And that's going to be it for this time. So if you enjoyed the video, please make sure you're leaving a like, rating, or a comment, or whatever you would like to do, of course. And I will see you all next time. And until then, game on.